piece of this.
Let me get a piece of this.
Let me get a piece of
There
that.
it is.
That was my main thing, is how we all met each other and what we
Sit down,
remember it.
Mikey.
And then our best,
Actually, if you guys scoot down.
some of our best memories. I moved up here later than you two. It's a running joke, and I always say he can rob someone with that.
Yeah.
He robbed someone with that water bottle.
Dude, not only is it water, it's a defensive
weapon.
Bop.
So you and Mikey
Me
met.
and Mikey met at Boy Scouts.
Yes.
What age?
Is that 8? It was the
Yeah,
it was the first Cub.
We were like 9 or 10.
It was Cubs, whatever age that is, the first Scout.
Because
As soon as I turned-
Grandpa was the Cub master.
Yep.
And
So I helped him set up, and then he said, "You come to Scouts?" And I said, "Okay, great."
Wait, is that what it's called? The Cub master? Or is it like,
No, it's
Scoutmaster.
Scoutmaster.
Cub
because he was
leader.
like he
Cub
was-
leader.
He was like over all of it, like
Scoutmaster.
all the packs and everything.
Yeah, he set up like all the big.
Because this is Cub Scouts. not
Then it
Boy
is
Scouts.
Scoutmaster.
I think
There's
it is
Cub leader,
Scoutmaster.
and then
Because
Scoutmaster.
there's the leader of the Cubs specifically, and then Scoutmaster. Your mom, wasn't she the Cub?
Yeah, because we were in the Bear.
Yeah.
the-
Yeah, so the Cub leader,
I
whatever,
don't remember
was
what
his
they
mom.
all are anymore.
But then my grandpa was the head honcho.
I remember I never cared that much. Like, Scouts was cool, but there's also like where you'd meet together and it was like a uniform check. And they'd go through and you'd get certain points.
Yeah.
And I remember somebody would have Scout socks.
Yep.
So I'd split socks with somebody. I think it was
Yeah.
Taylor. So somebody would wear a
I forgot
left
about
and I'd
that.
wear
I
a right.
remember
And they're
that.
like, and I got socks and I'd lift up just my right leg. And they'd be like, oh, okay, he's got socks. And they'd write it down. So it was,
Oh.
Didn't you guys like change right in front of them too, and they just like didn't?
it was
notice?
like out in the hall, or like sometimes it'd be quick. Like I'd also like somebody would, they'd go check the first person and then they'd walk away. Because, you know, you only line up to get checked and they walk away and then they throw me like their handkerchief and their stupid tie knot. And I'd like, do it. And we get more points. So you cheated that way.
You know the best part of Scouts? That none of us got touched by men.
Whoa.
Getting a little
Speak
intense
for
here at the
yourself.
beginning.
I don't mean about us
got
touching
touched.
each other.
Oh.
No, but I only have good memories.
Campouts
We
were
had
pretty
good-
great too.
Oh.
Campouts are different. Like, now you go on a campout, it's just
Dude, back in the day, campouts hit different.
because that was like the big thing for like weeks, is that you look forward to the campout with all the guys.
For some
Week
reason, one of
longs
those
were
things
awesome.
I could simultaneously like enjoy it and hate it at the same time. I don't know how that works. You guys feel the same about that?
No. I mean, okay, I hated...
It's like I love this,
I
but I
hated
hate it everything
setting
about
up
it
and
at the same
cleaning
time.
up.
Yeah.
But everything in between setting up and cleaning up, I was like,
On the waking up at 6 a.m.
yeah.
You liked the
So
wake?
yeah,
I'm all
we,
about that, dog.
We had the Scoutmaster.
Specifically
No,
camping.
not at that time.
Specifically, when I'm camping, I enjoy being up before the sun because then it's cool and you're not melting.
No.
Fair
There was like, there's a sweet spot where the sun's coming up and then it's warming up. But we woke up before that where you'd crack
Where it's
eggs
just
and your
cold.
fingers were cold for hours.
So you
Yeah.
come out that tent door and you just made dead sprints.
So
around
you're
the
like
campfire.
scrambling
Yeah.
eggs.
The
You're
best part was
scrambling
waking
eggs.
up and you could still go sit by the fire.
And somebody would just be
Yeah.
like in a hoodie, like curled up for
Waking
their life.
up and walking out to heat was just,
Or waking up and it's like, die?
yeah, just...
Yeah, Cubs were cool. I remember it specifically for week longs. I still pride myself for this. Is my body goes into hibernation and I don't go number 2 during it. I can hold number 2 the whole time.
Dog, same. Same. Until some, like one of my last campouts, I didn't dookie on a campout until I was like 17.
Well, looking back, like,
I'd go camping, nothing came out. Didn't even need to.
well, I'll tell
And
my
then I'd get home and I'd just toilet explosion.
I feel like I just have like normal, just normal. It's just maybe I'll take another one that night.
I had a backlog.
But I tell my family about it and they'd be like, "What?" Like they're amazed, like it's a superpower.
It is. Because
And
people
then
would be like,
thinking
"Oh, I
back
have
to
to
it,
go and
imagine
dig a hole."
the
and-
amount of food that they cook on campouts, especially
The
for
amount
breakfast
of-
for
yeah,
young
the amount
boys.
that I
It's
ate.
like
much.
7 days of that, and then just holding it in
7
my
days
12-year-old
of
body.
4 dozen eggs, entire like 4 bags of hash browns. You're like,
Some sausage cooked by another 12-year-old where half of it's cooked and the other half's pink.
and then same with bacon.
And every
Yeah.
meal tasted like the last meal because they weren't cleaning that big bowl.
But then
they
you
were
take
using.
it, you just drown it in ketchup, and you just.
Maybe there's a special thing when you mention bacon, because I learned this recently about my uncle. He's from Czech. My cousin, who's like, yeah, my dad eats bacon raw. And he's like 70 or something, and he does like all this crazy stuff. And
Like,
he's
we talking raw bacon?
Raw
Or like
bacon,
that
like-
pre-made in the...
No, he's
not
talking
pre-cooked, raw.
That man has so many parasites, it hurts.
He's been doing it for years, ever since he
Is he
was young,
skinny?
apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, tapeworms. Dog, that man's full of parasites. I guarantee
Is that
it.
the secret, bro? I need to get some tapeworms, and
Oh, yeah, did you? That's a thing.
that is a thing.
When you have a tapeworm, you don't stop eating because it's eating all your food. So you don't actually get any calories. So your body's like,
So you just lose all your muscle, too, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
no, you just become.
I see the problem with this, then.
What is your worst memory of scouting? I have one. I'll start it off if you guys need some time to think.
Go.
Okay. I'll start
say,
off
I
while you
don't-
guys
yeah.
think. Like, one of the most horrible. I remember while we were at Bear Lake, it was halfway through. And, you know, as you spread out through Bear Lake, you know, you have, especially with that one was like a whole camp where you had all the different merit badges. There's like 30 merit
You
badges
can go to all the stations.
Yeah, and it was all timed out. So I remember one of those days, it was like all the classes started at like 8, and I had water, like life safety or something in the water, where you had to take off your jeans in the lake, and then you tie the ends of your pant
Oh,
legs,
I
and then
heard
you
about
had to
this. I
splash
never did that.
bubbles, and then
Yeah.
you had to float with it, and I had to do it at 8 a.m. So I had to wake up at 7. It was horrible. It was like jump in, and it was like, I'm good.
Your
And then-
butthole just.
And then eventually I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it first. But that's not one of my worst memories. I remember right after that, I was like,
Get nibbled on?
no,
By
throughout
fishy?
we did the normal day. You go through like archery and all this stuff. We end up going
I'd be
like
like,
to
all
bed
right,
at
I'm
night.
done swimming for the rest of the week now.
We're going to bed at night, and still they had bathrooms there, but it was still that half and half where like my body's like hibernation, but also number
There's
one
a
wasn't
bathroom.
hibernation. Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
bathroom. So I went to bed and I was like, oh, I should probably pee. I was like, I'm good. And then I went to bed,
Dog.
and I remember I was like in like a comatose state where you get like almost lucid
It's
dreaming,
that-
where
yeah.
you know you're dreaming, but you can feel your whole body. And I remember like peeing, and it was pooling on my waist.
no.
And then I finished. I'm like, ah. I go, and I wake up. I'm like, oh man! And I'm in my sleeping bag. And I start frantically, like, I start feeling myself, but I'm feeling my stomach because I knew that's where it pooled. And I'm feeling my stomach. It's dry. I'm like, we're good, because I thought it was in my dream. And then I'm feeling around to the sides of me, and I'm like, we're good. I'm like, oh. And then I roll over, and then I put my arm down, and it like, we were on a slant, so it pulled up to where my shoulders were. So I went, and I laid my arm down, just stick. I'm like, oh man, it's probably like 6 a.m. and I'm sleeping. I don't know if I think I was sleeping in a tent, and when you're sleeping in a tent in camps, it's like 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah.
So I go, shiz. So I just like take off my pants in the sleeping bag, and I think I took them out, and I put them in like the edge of my bag. And then I was like, I'll just deal with that later. And then I just had undies.
I'll deal.
I may have changed my undies in the sleeping bag while everyone was sleeping. But anyways, I got out of my sleeping bag, and I went out just in my underwear in the middle of like the camp. You know, you put your tents, and then there's the campsite where we make our fire. I went over to the table where we have like the washing your hands fluid, and I just unzipped my sleeping bag, and I was just like holding the spout, and I was trying to hand wash my sleeping bag, and it was like, we were like 14 in order to go to Bear Lake, so it was like I was 14 and I peed the bed.
Dog.
And I was just cleaning it with my hand. And I was like, oh man. And then it was still early in the morning. So after I kind of cleaned it, I kind of just like wrung it out as much as I could. And then I went back in the tent. I was like, I'm gonna just go back to sleep. And so I just kind of like laid myself back out, and then I just kind of scooted over and just went back to bed. But I remember the fear that I was like, oh man, I'm good. And then I roll over and just, oh,
Splash.
It's like, oh no.
Dog.
Well, at
That's
least you
gross,
were
too.
warmer
That
for a
makes
second.
me reminisce.
You pee-peed the...
Yes. But I have two.
All right,
Okay,
good.
first
Hold
one.
on a second.
I was in a 12-man octagon tent. So it had 8 sides, and it was like the size of this room.
Those are among the worst to set up. You're
It
playing
was
Tetris
eight,
with the
dude.
poles. Because all of them
It was so
are
bad.
off by 6 inches, and you're like, oh, this one doesn't
And you're
fit
like,
me. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like 12. I don't remember. It wasn't with you. I went on. It was a different one down in Spanish Fork.
Oh, Spanish
Yeah.
Fort.
I know. I double dipped on camping. I went to 2 separate Boy Scouts campouts multiple times. It would be like one weekend
the way
was
to do it.
Spanish Fork, the other weekend was Woodland Hills, and I was like,
That was the dream, really, when you're a kid. So you're like, there was no worries. It was just school, which was, it's just nothing. Yeah, and then
oh. Anyways, so I was in the octagon. Same thing happened. I'm asleep, and in my dream, I'm like, and like halfway through,
making bottles of
I'm like
water.
going, and then like my brain said, "Dog, you're getting a little warm," and I said, I shot awake, and I said, and I like sucked it in, and I was like,
What?
but I was too late. My pants were soaked.
Oh man.
So I climb out of my like sleeping bag and I unzip and I just get naked outside. It was like 3 a.m. so it was pitch black. I was like
Right outside the door of the tent?
right outside.
So if one of the
I
kids
was
woke up,
sleeping
they'd
by
be
the
like,
door.
Bigfoot? And then you'd be just sitting there naked. And you were a big boy.
Stripped down, put on my other clothes, and then took those and just like pulled them up.
Wait, in the woods? Be
No, I
gone!
shoved them into like the front pocket so it wasn't by my other
That's
stuff.
the kid thing too. Is you don't take care of it fully, but it's just out of sight, out of mind. Instead of like washing it or like in a grocery bag,
this will
it's
be
just
good enough.
pocket.
Dog, this wasn't a week long. We didn't have bathrooms or anything. Okay, numero dos. Same similar thing happened, except I had diarrhea.
I've never heard this one.
So I don't know. I think I ate
Listen to
something, and I was like, we were hiking. And I was like, oh, and so like we get back, and I'm like trying not to, because I refuse to go on campouts. So I'm just like,
Just jam a
so
wine bottle.
I'm
cork
walking
up there.
around. I'm walking around like this, like
You're doing the Michael Jackson.
yeah. And so we're like, I'm like, it goes away, and my stomach.
How
still
bad?
hurts,
How
but
bad? Like you feel it coming, or are we
Like
talking
it's-
like if somebody like
if someone,
bumped into you, you'd be like,
it's gone. Exfil out butthole.
exfil.
Oh no!
Just gone. He's got to check the computer now.
Okay, we're still good. Editing, dog. But go to bed. Halfway through the night, I woke up and I was like, oh! Just pain, and it just
Your water broke.
just exited. Just emergency exfil.
Someone just slipped you a
In
few
my
laxatives in your hot chocolate before you went to bed? Is that what happened?
Oh yeah,
Like-
did you eat
I
anything
ate
that caused
something.
this?
Yeah, it was. I was like 12. I ate.
That's the
something
thing with
bad.
campouts too. Is like the boys cook, but then halfway through, some people get lazy and they go, "I'm done."
Yep.
Like it looks cooked, and then they like that's it.
Yeah, so I got like gonorrhea or something, and in my sleeping bag, in my shorts. So I was like, I didn't know what to do. It was like middle of the night. So
I'd
I
almost
just
rather get
stripped
into
out,
a car
and
accident.
I like
than do
turned
that.
him inside out and wrapped him in my shirt, and then changed.
Nasty.
How'd you clean?
I got home and I put him in the washer
No, how'd you clean yourself?
with my shirt.
Yo.
I had one thing. I had one shirt and a shirt for the next day.
How'd you get not like spicy bums?
I did. It was like
You just have to
it was-
deal with it.
It was like
right?
But even like if you get like, cause poo's kind of like acidic-y. So if you
Yes,
get it
that's
on
not
like
skin,
I wanna-
it's all itchy.
it was.
You start getting like
dude,
leprosy on your
I
thigh.
had that. I had like rash up and down my legs, and the next day we had a hike. Yeah,
You're
I
down.
wanted to die.
Oh my gosh.
You brought that up, and I was like, "Yep, that's it."
I like how
Let me
this
tell
is
you,
like.
everyone woke up and they were like,
I love how we start.
So probably playing along knowing you.
I was like,
You're like,
I was like,
oh,
"Oh,
what is that? An animal come through by the tent?
what died?"
We just. All right, we're rashed. We're just gonna go anyways. Like that's our mindset. We're just like, oh, here I go.
Well, I
Did
didn't
you
really-
not
I didn't
try
tell
to
it-
do anything?
I didn't
Did you
tell
not try to
anyone.
like?
I know we
Because
just like
I
when-
didn't want people
when
to be
this
like,
stuff happens,
why?
we're
What
just like,
happened? Why do you smell like actual anus? Anyway, that's my worst memory.
Oh, my age.
What about Mikey?
I actually don't remember.
I'll say one for Mikey. One of my favorite memories is Maple Dell, week long. Mike, the whole time, puffed eyes.
Oh,
red
yeah!
nose. Your allergies
Now that you
were
say
almost
that, I almost
clinical.
cut this thumb off in that one
Oh,
because I was trying to make a canoe and then it got
Yep,
cut
I remember
on like
when
some
you-
bad wood and I just pushed harder and I was holding my thumb like you're not supposed to and just and it was a brand new knife so it was so sharp that it literally like it caught and just went and I like pulled it out because I panicked immediately and you couldn't even see the cut because of how sharp it was. It was just like
I remember when you
was
got
like,
cut. And then
Did
it
I
said-
cut it? And I went. And then the blood just started coming out. I was
Yeah.
like, woo! And I just started like flicking it everywhere. And my dad was like, stop, you're getting it everywhere.
blood just flying.
I just started flinging
Oh,
it.
but I remember you were like the whole time you were just like, because your allergies were
Yeah,
so
you had
bad.
Toilet paper up your nose.
One of the
Yeah.
nights I thought I was going to die.
Yeah,
'Cause
I remember
couldn't
you couldn't breathe.
Like,
You were like, I was like, Mike, you good?
Without going into the story, that's also the same camp out that Alfie was born.
Yeah,
That
it is.
story.
That video's still out on YouTube somewhere. It is.
No. Just the story of it.
Oh no, I remember. I was thinking of when you like. Yeah. No, I remember Alfie.
Bro, you can't just do a silent
That was with
motion
Cole.
from
Do you
your
remember?
mouth and not
Do you remember
explain
Cole?
It's his
Cole was
toothbrush.
in our
That's like-
tent. It was you, me, and Cole.
Yeah.
Cole had were only
had the Neff
he-
hat.
exclusively Neff.
Exclusively Neff.
Everything.
Yep. Do you remember?
We were
Alfie?
like crying, laughing
I
every
recognize that
single
name. I
time.
don't remember what
And that
that
was
is.
like one of the campouts that we
And
slept under the
people
stars.
kept telling us to shut up. Who came over? It was like Alan or something came over and he hit the tent. He was like, "Go to bed." Someone came over when I don't think it was Alfie. I think it was like when we
Oh,
were
another night, yeah.
shrekking
What the
each
heck is
other.
Alfie? I don't even remember what this is.
It wasn't
You
repeated
have
much.
to. You
No.
have to.
No.
I'll edit it out, but you have to explain it to him.
No, you won't edit it
I
out.
will. If okay,
I'll tell you after.
It's
No,
a trick.
tell him.
It's a trap.
I
It's trap. It's trap.
It's a trap.
I have to keep this monetizable.
You got to tell the camera. It's a trap.
Yeah, I'll tell him
It's a
after.
tarp.
I'll tell him after. So that was all scouting. But I met you guys later. So I moved in
Was it seventh?
to the neighborhood in 2011.
7th grade.
So we were 11. You guys were 12.
Did you go to Spanish work junior high?
No, I went to a different
You moved in
It was
when
during
we
junior
were going
high.
into 7th grade.
Yes.
So
No, when we were
no.
in 7th grade
Yeah.
because we were in
In
Spanish.
seventh
We were in
grade.
Spanish, but you weren't.
Yeah,
But
we
you
moved
would
in
come over to
in
Mike's
seventh.
house
Yeah.
after school, and we would.
Yeah, first time we meet, like my mom just like, hey, there's like this kid that he doesn't have friends, like he's coming over there.
So
And I was like, all right.
There's this lonely boy. I set up a play
he
date
gets
for
up.
you.
He gets up to the door. I open it. I'm just like, oh, so and it's like I know nothing about him. So I was like, I don't know what to even start this with because I don't know any of his interests. I'm just like, you like army stuff? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you like video games? He's like, yeah. I was like, you like army video games? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let's go.
And then I remember coming down the stairs in the house,
Recon.
and I turn over, and you're hunched over, like the screen with horrible posture,
Oh,
and you guys are like 4 inches from the screen.
Dog.
You and Ethan. I think I knew Ethan at that point, but then you were going. You go, oh, and then you like push Ethan or something. You're like, oh, and then you turn around. And you're like, hi. Like everything sounded like the awkward, like, oh, hi, like just the awkward. Hi.
Oh, dude, there was times I would come over to your house.
I remember your blue
I
glasses.
don't even think you were here.
Yeah, sometimes I
There
was
were
gone and you
sometimes
guys
I was
would
just
have
there.
parties at my house.
No, just me. This was back before we met him, and I had forgotten my glasses.
Those blue ones?
I was like, I gotta play some zombies. So I would bring the TV closer, sit as close as possible. I was like this far from the TV, and I was like playing zombies like crackhead, having to like look around the whole screen. It's like,
I wonder if my mom
and then
just like
Amanda
walked in and saw you, and she's like,
Amanda came in and she said, "That
Just, like,
has
walked
got to
out.
be bad for your eyes." And I said, "Ah!"
I could just see my mom just walking in and just see you, and she just turned around and walked.
It's
I'm
disgusting.
surprised that your family likes me still.
Yeah, from
no,
all the
we don't
trash
care
that
about
happened
stuff,
at your house, I'm genuinely surprised that your family's like,
They're
yeah,
still cool.
they're allowed inside still.
I know the amount of times that we have been screamed at for being loud.
Oh yeah, we got in trouble all the time.
We'd be,
And somehow you guys are all the golden children in their minds now.
That's right.
These are the. They're like, yeah, your friend group's awesome. I was like, all right, we won. Well, I don't know what we won. We won something.
Look, it's that you had a good friend group, and that we were productive. Not only did we play games, we played Army,
You guys are so.
and we filmed things.
That was like way later.
Not much.
That was
eighth
way
grade.
later.
We started
What
filming.
was later?
We filmed in
Yeah, we filmed
seventh
in,
grade,
like
sixth and seventh grade.
Like 5th and 6th grade.
Yeah, we started filming like fifth,
It's
sixth.
your red flip
With my no, it was black.
camcorder.
And my silver like cam that Amanda gave me.
Oh, I did have a red one.
Yeah, you did.
I started with the black flip one where you pull it down, the USB goes out of the side,
Yeah.
and then I got a red one.
Yeah.
Not a flip though. It was like a little like had the camera that folded.
No,
out.
yeah, but it was like rectangle.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That was after though.
Yeah.
The first one we started with, I still have. It's that silver one Amanda gave me.
Oh, very good.
That's where the like you taking Brendan out scene. No, Brendan getting sniped. Scene
yeah.
is where, yeah.
No,
But it just looks
you've
garbage.
seen that video, Project Elite, the first version from like sixth
He
grade.
gets sniped and he just kind of like takes 3 more
Well,
steps and just like.
It's the one where I'm like, okay, these Russians. And Mike and Taylor are down there, and I run down.
And
Somehow they don't hear this 200-pound 12-year-old going. And I miss, just a total whiff Taylor. Taylor falls over, and I do the
dies.
same to Mike. And then I cock, shoot. You know, an M1911 semi-automatic.
But that's what they do with
Yeah,
this.
you got the airsoft gun.
I didn't actually shoot them. But then
No,
I was
because
like, I
it was
turned
an
around and I
airsoft
went,
gun.
and Brendan's running. And the way we got the sound effect, because we had Windows Movie Maker, is we had a
gun
toy
that just
shotgun
made noise.
that when you pull the trigger, it says,
Ooh. We should put it right in the camera.
and we held it next to the camera, and then went, and Brendan said, and fell over.
It was so bad.
I'll show you, dog.
Nah, I don't remember this.
And then-
you weren't there.
And
This
then
was like
we
sixth
proceed
grade.
to
Oh,
have
okay.
me aim at you down from the
Oh, yeah,
first person mode.
I
I have a little 8K that's this long and it's see-through. And I'm just
see-through.
Oh, I know
And
that.
it's
That was
mounted.
in the sandbox.
yeah.
It looks like. Every time I see it, I think that's a penis. From that angle, it's like
That's what you thought back then?
no. As I'm
Now that's
watching
what
it
he
now,
thinks.
I was like, we did not see that. And then there's like they run to this dirt hill and they turn. And Mike just like settles down and all.
Yeah, I get all comfy. You know, I legit was
He
comfy.
like shoots and then he turns and he like settles in.
You see, that's exactly what it was for me. I was
And then
just
I
like,
killed Taylor. And during the death scene, which for some reason gets emotional, even though they're the bad guys, Ollie's running around behind him.
Oh,
so you
yeah.
see him just like walking through the scene,
Just
this
a little
little
dog.
black dog.
Nuts.
I'm gonna have to show you that.
Yeah.
It'll be linked.
I'm not in it, so yeah.
I'll link that.
That
to you.
AK didn't even have iron sights or anything.
No,
No, I know.
It was just on the top.
so bad, so bad. Dog, stop.
What you doing?
You know when you're trying to listen to a podcast and you just hear Velcro.
Oh, what was it? So that's kind of how we first met each other. And obviously, we get through others. What is your favorite memories, or a favorite memory up to this date? I'll go one from you, and then one to Mike, and then one to each other, and we'll go around.
I don't even know, man. Like, there's so many.
I know.
There's too many.
There's so many.
Just
It's
pick
like
one
overload.
that
and I
stands
can't
out
remember
right
any.
now. Well, you guys think. I'll start one. I remember in high school about Mike. We were standing in a doorway.
Oh.
We were standing
I know
in a
what
doorway.
this is.
And Mike's favorite thing in high school. Mike's all time. There's nothing more than Mikey loves in high school than keeping every scrap of paper ever given and never coming out of his backpack. Mike's backpack at the start of the year would start off half a pound, like a notebook,
It's
and
like
then
just a little
every
paper
kept
piece.
assignment ever in his backpack. His backpack literally, like, you can.
That's no.
Every
It
kept.
At the
starts
end of
off
the
like
year.
this, and by the end of the year, it would end up like
At the end of the
this.
year, your backpack was like 150 pounds.
Yeah.
It was so
It was
heavy.
actually probably like 45 pounds, like a 45 dumbbell.
I guarantee you it was more. The books, paper's
Textbooks.
heavy. Textbooks
And
and,
I could
all
get-
the paper.
I could get
see
away
it
with
being
that
like-
because
I
it was
could see
that
it being-
military bag, so it didn't just get shredded
Yeah,
from the weight.
No.
That's
remember,
why
it
you were
was
so fit
it
in
was
high
your-
school. You had the backpack.
Just carrying 180 pounds.
So,
everywhere.
anyways, we're in this doorway, and I go, and we're talking about something, and then all of a sudden I look up to the doorway, and the doorway is obviously lower than the ceiling, and we're decent height, around 5'10" in high school.
Yeah,
And I
that
look
is
up
what
to
I
the
think
doorway,
it
and
is.
I go, I think I could kick that, and I kind of like test kick it, and I kind of get shoulder, length. And then Tim kind of does it, gets a little higher. And then Mike
sent
Mike's
it, bro.
is either 0 or 1,000 guy.
Yeah.
So Mike
I'm all
tries,
or nothing.
but first doesn't take off his backpack. Gets weighted down the whole
Don't
time.
even think about it. I just went for it.
He goes, sends his leg up, doesn't even get like shoulder before.
One leg comes off the ground, and when the first leg gets to about here, second leg comes off the ground.
Yeah, Mike goes to kick, and he just swings up, and then his whole body falls to the ground. And me and Tim are laughing.
It's because there was so much weight up top with
It's
the
like a
backpack.
trebuchet. Just,
He trebucheted himself.
That's exactly what it was. And I was dead. No,
Yeah. After that, I would have gone home.
No, because the backpack is so thick, it just cushioned the fall.
Basically, he didn't even
I
fall.
landed, and I
He
was
kicked
like-
up, and it was just like landing on a table. He's like, "Boop."
that was my. That's one of the good ones from Mikey. Because I just remember after I was like, this guy is trash mentally. Because I feel like when we tried, I think we took off our backpacks. And Mike, for some reason, just kept that on and just, huh.
But I didn't think about it. I was like, I'm going to send to this. I was like, I can do this. And I
I'm trying to think of one of Corbin, unless you get. So while I'm thinking, do you guys have one? Of either me or Mike or Mikey of me or Corbin? This could be while playing games, high school, out of game,
These memories
from
come
anything.
all the
But from
time.
back then
It's-
to now.
Every time someone asks,
No, it's
and
like
I
it's
draw
like
a blank.
when I say, yeah, I sing an act, and people go, act right now, sing for me now,
Sing something.
I'm like, dog. It's not how it works.
Do it now.
Ah.
Do you guys have one in mind?
I have like bits, and I'm trying to like remember the full story.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I just don't even have bits.
I have
I'm
bits. I
trying to
can
think.
see like things, and I'm like, wait, what happened here? But it's tough to come up with things on the spot. I mean, there's There's always toenail.
Hey, you want to tell him?
We may have to say that.
You want to tell him? Tell the audience about what happened to my TV.
Hey.
I wasn't
No,
there.
I'll tell you what happened to your TV. Ryan was shooting me with an airsoft gun.
So these
I
clowns
remember,
play
he shot
airsoft
me.
inside for some reason.
Inside.
This
He
boy
had the
and
gun.
another boy playing
I
airsoft
wasn't
inside
shooting.
next to TV screens,
Not
flat
me.
screens.
I
not
wasn't
just like
shooting.
an old one.
I didn't have the
No,
gun.
but you guys are inside.
Ryan had the gun. I remember because we like grappled each other, and Ryan actually wrestled and was fit, and I was a fat little 12-year-old. And so he like Shrek'd me and then got the gun. And then he shot me once in the hip, and I started running, and he shot again, and it went right into the TV. And then he threw the gun at me and ran. He was like, just took off.
I don't know.
Just-
All
That
I
is a
know is
fact.
I went to get something for a second. My TV's fine. I walk into the other room. I come back, and you guys are like, "Hey, your TV's
Okay,
destroyed."
Admit it. Ryan.
It was perfect placement
Ryan
because I remember when you
Shrek'd
played split screen, it was like almost center,
Yeah.
like in between, but it was a little towards the bottom.
So
Honestly, it
you
probably
could do
helped you aim.
hardcore Call of Duty and have an advantage on third
I mean, it
player.
probably helped you aim.
Wouldn't help me. It was in the third player spot. I don't know. I was never third player.
That's true. Mike was only first player.
I didn't trust
Back in the
everyone else.
day, who has first? Who's first?
Listen, now that I think about it, I was trash about that, but then I think harder about it. I'm like, Ryan caused this because Ryan was always doing stuff like stopping the game instead of starting. It's like we're like doing some trash setting, and I was always like, all right, I'm always first.
Ryan's
player.
favorite thing in Halo 2 would be like 3, 2, 1 and start fading.
It
and
gets.
then,
And then he'd press
Oh,
B,
and then B,
or
and then he'd
it's
come
like,
back.
You guys.
I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie,
he's the
that was
reason we
my
have
favorite
master.
too.
I know, it was multi. It was Taylor,
I did
you, Ryan, sometimes Alan would
This
do
is
it
why
when
I was
everyone
first
stopped.
player.
Because
And I would
I
do it
loved
once everyone
seeing-
was sick of stuff. They're like, stop, and then they get everyone else to stop, and they'd be like,
And then-
who was that?
okay, but like the fade. I loved seeing how dark it could get and how long you could go before if you hit it again. And there were times where I was like, oh, I missed it. And then it says,
I know,
And
it
I'm
comes
like-
back.
yeah!
We could do the toenail story.
Toenail dog.
No.
I did toenail story.
Nasty.
Okay.
Started
You're
off
going to have to.
with
yeah.
origin. How do these toenails
So-
come into...
As a child, I did not clip my toenails.
This is 10th grade. This isn't child.
No. This was in like 8th grade.
This is high school.
This was high school.
high school?
This was
no,
high
it
school.
was
This is
not.
high school.
It was...
Was it
May-
high school?
High school.
It was for sure
Junior
sophomore year.
Oh, sophomore year?
Yeah, we were in
Yes.
high school.
There.
We were in the
it
high
wasn't
school.
sophomore
Oh, yeah,
because
'cause he
I
was there,
no
yeah.
because we
Yes.
rode the bus still.
Yeah.
It was on the bus.
Sophomore year.
was-
High
Did we ride
school.
the bus?
Sophomore year. Yeah.
That was the last year you were at Salem.
We were too old to be doing that.
There's no
That's
way.
what I know.
I genuinely refuse to believe this was sophomore year because I was still fat.
No.
Sophomore year, I wasn't.
No, you weren't.
I was a man whore.
You were-
sophomore year.
You were not. Yeah, that. But no. You also were not fat in this story. You
Was
just
I
had-
not?
You just had dirty toenails.
Oh,
Dog, this went longer.
dog. Sophomore year.
As a kid.
Sophomore
Sophomore year.
Apparently. Okay, well, legitimately up until
You will never hear the
Up
story
until I
because
got
we're gonna
married.
keep reestablishing it.
Up until
sophomore.
I got married, I didn't clip my toenails. It was bad. I got mold under my toenails.
Yo.
It was nasty.
I didn't know this part.
Yeah.
I remember.
Well, I don't know if it was mold, but when I cleaned my toenails, you scrape it out and it's just like instant.
I remember the sink scabs I had to clean.
No, okay. Well,
So,
I had surgery.
so as the cool thing in high school is obviously you sit in the back of the bus.
yeah, the cool
So
kids are in the
I remember we're in the back left side.
I was
Yeah.
back right.
We also
Yeah, Mike was across.
Yeah.
So it was us in the back left, Mike in the right.
and Corbin was on the window seat. I'm on the aisle, and Mike is on the aisle on the other side.
I just had a seat to myself.
And for
was
some
just
reason, Corbin's foot comes waist level.
No shoe, no sock.
No. You pulled off your shoe.
Did I do it?
And you pull
up?
off this sock. And I remember too,
No.
you had a
I
hole at
peel
the
off
end.
the sock.
Yeah. Gross. And then
Why are we telling this story, guys? You guys want to tell it so bad.
It's a good story. It's
so
genuinely
funny.
Gross.
Yeah, it's nasty.
So you take off your sock, but you're doing all this. I think my first memory of it was looking over, and you're already peeling it.
No, my friend.
You're going to town.
I wasn't
banana peeling it.
I was going to war with my toenail.
So, anyways, I look over, and you probably a third of the way through, and you're peeling your toenail. This is one of the grossest toenails I've seen. I'm not even kidding. Maybe
almost a half-inch long.
No.
It was half
Maybe
an
an inch.
It wasn't an inch. An inch
Is
is like
an
that
inch.
long.
No, an inch is like.
Am I wrong? I thought an inch was like this.
An inch
I thought
is
that was
like
an inch.
this. Is
It's
an
probably
inch.
like this knuckle.
Like that? Yeah.
No, like that knuckle.
Yeah.
So we're for sure 3/4. We'll just round off 3/4 of an inch toenail.
Compromise.
Corbin, big boy. Corbin, big toenail.
Big toenail.
And I look over.
And you know what they
and I'm
say
like,
about big toenails?
For some reason, it started like you mesmerized me. I just watched you like.
I did.
It's like
Peel
when
it
you see
off.
those things where you're like, I can't look away.
Yeah, but it's one of these things we still joke about to this day. Like you probably could have opened a can with that piece.
I could open
Nasty.
a tuna can. Just shink.
I'm getting
Is that Timothy?
Maybe.
Anyways. Is it Tim?
You guys keep telling this story. I'm gonna go.
It's your perspective here soon.
I was gonna say, yeah.
What's up, Tim?
So, anyways, Corbin's peeling this toenail. I just watch it, and he finally kind of like right at the end, just like,
It's finally
like snapping off a pretzel. Just get it off. And this unsheathed boomerang you're holding,
It really was. It really was a
you throw it down
boomerang.
the hallway, it would come back.
Absolutely. It would just.
Tim is inbound.
Oh. Okay.
So, please off this boomerang,
happening.
and I start laughing because instantly, I know I can persuade you. And that's just a running thing.
Back a little bit of like Travis could get me to do anything. If Travis asked me, it was done.
So I look over, and I'm like, you should throw that at Mike. So I get up, and I move a couple, like one or two seats down.
This toenail, by the way, was green. It was green, and it smelled so bad.
Okay, you guys are exaggerating.
No, it was
thing
green.
was only clear. It would
I
look nasty.
think it was.
I remember because when I
It's
peeled
some-
it off.
I think-
Okay, no, it was yellow. It was green or
It's a
yellow.
little bit yellow.
It was
It's
nasty.
a little yellow.
It
but-
probably had stuff under it, but
It
anyway,
did have stuff. That's
you
the
peeled
problem.
it off.
It was a little
Okay, the
nasty.
toenail itself was like nasty,
Not
but it was
green.
it was the stuff that was caked on underneath that I had not cleaned out that was worse.
Nasty.
Anyways, had some stuff on it. You peeled it off. I remember laughing because I knew instantly. I was like, you should throw this at Mike. And I knew.
This guy, backstory to this guy is Emperor Palpatine. He tells people to do
It's
things
true.
and they just do it,
They
no
just do
question. So this is like the final straw for me in this moment because he says, okay, continue.
Yeah. So I'm like, you should throw this at Mike. And Corbin I remember just laughing.
Just does it.
Just accepts. And I knew, I was like, I got to get out of here because something's going to happen. And by this time, I think we were laughing so hard in the back, and we were like the oldest kids on the bus at that time, more or less. You know, juniors and seniors didn't really ride the bus. They had different things. So Corbin leans over, and I'm looking back because I'm watching from like 2 seats above. I'm sitting next to somebody who's
Travis
sitting
got out of
alone.
there.
You know, they're on their headphones or whatever, and I'm watching back, and Corbin just... like Bellatrix in Harry Potter, just last dagger through. And then by this time, Mike looks over, hits him in the lip.
I was pissed. I grabbed that thing and I wasn't going for this boy. I went for this boy. You
Yeah.
know why? Because he's the one that started it and I knew it.
It hits him in the lip. And I just knew. Mike goes, whoa, and he looks down. And he goes to pick it up. And I'm like, all right, so I got to get out of here. So I go about halfway up the bus where the emergency exit is. And Mike, for some reason, thinks he can...
I think I can
Mission
hit him with
Impossible this.
this. I was too pissed to think at this point. I was just like, I'm hitting him with this stuff.
And by the way, when this stuff's happening, we're talking about like this story or visuals are infecting, like slowly getting each row
Yeah.
further down.
People are more and more progressively noticing,
Backing,
hey,
like-
what's going on in the back of the bus?
And
and
they're-
people are starting to turn. They're like, hey.
They're evacuating. Like How it all started
Because
is...
we skipped a part. Because I threw it.
Yeah, trying to get me.
And I missed, and it just landed in a girl's hair.
It lands in a girl's hair.
In her hair.
And then I think at this point, a couple rows forward view it, and see that it goes in her hair, and everyone goes, oh. And then she goes, what the heck? And she's like trying to comb through her hair. And at first, I remember watching it, like I lost it in her hair, and then she kind of like is combing her hair, and she parts it, and then I see it in there. Like in one of the scenes, like in Tarzan's wrapped up in like the jungles, like in the weeds and the vines at the end. That's how it was. I saw it in there. So gross. And she goes, ugh. And then she finally combs it out, and she goes, oh, what is that? And then I think you came up to grab it again.
No, I stayed in that seat. I was just like, I'm gonna play that. I'm staying unconfrontational. I'm not doing anything. I'm just staying
I
there.
was gone
My
too.
hands up. I was
Me
just
and Mike,
hiding in the back.
as soon as this happened, me and Mike ducked.
And then
we were behind the
And
seats.
she's like, "Who's this?" And she like got the
No,
bus driver.
you're skipping
involved.
another part. It got somebody. Everyone's evacuated. Everyone's on the front half of the bus. It's you in the back. You're in the back, and whoever was sitting next to you. Maybe Brendan.
Maybe like Brendan Allen.
Yeah, it was either Brendan or I think it might have been Ryan.
Somebody, I think it was Ashton. Ashton
Ashton,
grabbed
maybe.
it. Ashton
Ashton
grabbed it and threw it back at you. And I'm at this point screaming. I'm like, "Oh, sick!"
I didn't know
And I
about
go
that
up to
part,
about 2 or 3 rows away from the bus driver. At this point, the bus driver stops the effing bus.
And she's like,
Under the
whose
street.
toenail is this?
No.
And you were like,
No,
Michael's. It's
hold on,
Mikey's toenail.
I was like, "Are you serious?" Hold on.
This is not. And I was like, it's his toenail. And she gets me in trouble. She's like, you go pick it up. I was like, what? What is this?
Like, at first,
I was so pissed.
Everyone's doing 10-person to a seat at the beginning of the bus. And then she stops the bus, she gets on that intercom, no one can hear. Everyone could be quiet, and then she just goes, but she gets up, and then she stops the bus. I think she parks it in the street. And then she starts walking through. She's like, what's going on? And then somebody, I think one of the girls, some random girl was like, they're throwing a toenail. She's like, what? Where is it? And it's at the back of the bus. I'm like, it's Michael's toenail.
Dude, you're so trash. Palpatine here says this, and she just believes him. No questions asked. Like,
She gets to the back of the bus, and you were like, this isn't my toenail. And she's like, whose is it? And you're like, it's Corbin's. And then Corbin's like, it's Michael's. And then
I'm like, no, it's not. It's Corbin's.
She gives up. And she's just like, Michael, pick this toenail up.
It was the most garbage thing. I guess I kind of deserved it just for throwing it in the first place, but
we all know
injustice
who
was done
started
that
this.
day.
This
Injustice.
man right here.
Palpatine.
However, he did get me out of trouble. So
Palpatine playing the Clone Wars like,
Dude, I remember
other side.
you picked it up as if it was like radioactive, and you like held your wrist. I feel like I could just imagine.
Yes, that's what happened. I had to like, I think I got like a cloth out of the trash to like pick it up
you
or
just
something.
picked it up.
Or that.
And
I
you watch it,
because
I was like,
because the
"Ooh."
bus driver was standing there, so you had to get it.
Yeah.
And the trash bin is at the front as you leave.
I'm
right
a
next to the
germ
bus
freak,
driver.
so this is like horrific for me in this moment. It's like,
Used to be a germ freak.
no, I still am. It's just not as bad.
So you picked it up, and you start walking down the aisle. Everyone is like leaning away from it, and you finally throw it away. I remember you were like that kind of pissed when you get a friend pissed. It's like, oh, you're trash. Like, I hate you, and you're like, yeah, I got him. You were like that silent, like, oh, like he's actually pissed.
No.
You were like,
because
I
we
garbaged
embarrassed
you
him
when
in
we got
front
off
of the
the
entire
bus.
bus.
You got it?
yeah.
We embarrassed this boy in front of the whole bus. I
Oh, 'cause
feel to this day I feel bad for that.
People would let
the
it
thing I
believe it was
disliked
yours.
most
Yeah,
about
that's
that
what I'm
moment is
saying.
the thing I disliked the most about that moment is being accused of something that was not mine. Like it's like this
I
is
feel
not
that.
me. I don't like
I
that.
feel that.
That's where I draw the line. It's like I did not do this. This is when I
That's
did
one of
this.
my
pretty bad.
favorite Corbin memories. I also have a ton from when we worked together. There was
That's because there's some good stories.
Hey, you want to put your headphones in this drawer? We tell that story?
that's yours.
That's yours.
That's yours of
That's
me.
both of our stories.
That's
I
yours
guess.
of me. Go ahead.
So tell the story.
So, we work at this call center, right? And we both sit next to each other in this call center. And there's a bunch of, like, rows in the whole call center. And each row has, like, a supervisor over the row or whatever. And there's this one lady supervisor who's there at her work.
Hold on. So this supervisor first
And we argue
was into
over
Mikey.
No,
Oh.
he's trying to establish it.
No, she
we
was into
argue
it.
over who she likes because I was like, she likes Travis, and he was like, no, she likes you. This is because he's trying to be cool, dude. But
No.
she really liked him,
Mike.
and he would not believe me.
We
He would not
were
believe me.
on separate teams though. I was on somebody else's team. You were under her team.
I was
and
on
you
her
were her
team.
favorite.
Yeah, I was on
This
her
is why
team.
she was.
That's why he can
She
even
wanted
get away
Mikey's
making
spot.
that claim. But he's not on her team, right? But we sit next to each other in a row. There was not
It ended
really
up
any assigned
changing.
seating.
Yeah.
But we have our headphones that we both bought, like, because he bought these headphones and they were kind of nice. I was like, oh, those are cool. I'm gonna buy them. So I got them on Amazon. Bought the same exact headphones. So we both have the same headphones. We're sitting at the same desks right next to each other, hanging out every day. One day we're on our way out of work. We're walking past her, and she just turns around. We're literally standing right next to each other, both holding the same headset. She just turns around and like, hey, Travis, if you ever want to, you can store your headphones in my personal desk right here.
Like it
And
was
I'm
her
standing
drawer.
here like,
She opens up her drawer and it's empty, and I just take it. Like,
Yeah.
sweet, because we just took it out to our car every day and then took it back. Because if we leave them there, it's kind of like you usually in your shift you sit where you sit. Like, and that's kind of your shift, but there's also like people
there's
come
night
in
shift,
later,
yeah.
so they kind of get their own desk. So if you left stuff at your desk, somebody like coming in before or after you would, it was up for grabs. Anything was on the, so it's like you didn't want to keep your headset there. But yeah, on the way out,
So like how at my work, my buddy got his AirPod Pro stolen because he put them in his locked desk drawer, and someone said,
oh, that's so good.
you know, that does remind me of is the pizza story too. When we got the pizza, we didn't have a tip.
Oh yeah. Oh, finish the other one. Finish the other one.
Well, I mean, that was pretty
More
much
or
it.
less,
It was just like,
I
we
was
walked
gonna
out of
say.
there, it's like, you see? She likes you. And he's like, no, I don't see.
Yeah, she
Dog,
only
he
He
offered
still
it to
denies
me.
it. He
She was
still
in
says that,
need.
yeah.
he denied her, and so she said, next best thing.
So this was also our first job right out of high school. Like I got it, and then I convinced Mike to get it. I'm
trash.
17, Mike's 18, I think, at this
Yeah.
point, or 18, 19. But she was probably
Why
like
would you go for a
20
call
something.
center, dog?
It was because it was like no experience needed. You just get in there. They just need.
I was like,
people to
I
be
have
there.
trouble talking to people. And I was like, yeah, that will do it. It's like, this will break me out
That'll
of the
do it.
comfort zone. Like,
Do you remember?
wasn't that bad anyways.
When this boy
Yeah.
worked at the cherry place, and he would sleep all day and then wake up, and like the only time he
I
was
didn't
awake
see
was
the
like
sun
4
for
a.m.
a few months.
I was like,
'Cause I was on
I just
night
want to hang out with Mike, and we'd go to his house, and he'd just be out.
Yeah, I'm
We'd
sleeping.
try to wake you up, and you'd just be like,
Dude, I had to sleep. That was my nighttime. Because I
It was
worked.
garbage.
What was it? I guess I'd leave at
That's like actual slave
7
labor.
to 7:30ish.
They were hiring like 14-year-olds.
I'd wake up at no, I was like 16.
No,
You had to
you
be
were.
16.
But they had. My sister worked there.
Maybe-
at like 14, 15.
They'll take whoever they can. But most of the people that
Yeah.
were there were like
But
my age
most
or
of them
older
were, yeah.
or whatever. Well, there were some cool people there. It was actually kind of a cool job.
I'm sure.
during
But
the
we
day
worked.
shift, though.
No, day shift sucked as far as I've been told, because I was on night shift and I was glad, because apparently it's really hot in the day shift because it was during the summer.
Oh, it was a warehouse.
So-
yeah.
Yeah, so like, and so the night shift would be like I don't know, like 8 o'clock to 5 a.m. So I'd have to wake up at 7 to get there early.
That's such.
And then 5 o'clock's when the assembly line would end, but then we'd all have to clean up after that. So that'd usually be like another hour. So I'd just get home like 6 to 7, and then I'd be out all day. Wake up, repeat. It's like wake up, rinse, repeat every day, and wouldn't see the sun for 3 months.
It's not even cool.
No, and it was a summer where we never saw you.
That was a time period though where I was like a night owl, so I actually didn't care that much. I was like, I'm okay with this.
So was I. The problem is you were at work when we wanted to do stuff.
Yeah, this is true.
And not only was this like it was during the summer, it was during prime time.
Prime. So we could do stuff up until like 11 a.m. and then you'd go to sleep.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I'm going to bed. We're like, we just got here.
But I wouldn't even be there because I was at work.
11 a.m. dog.
Yeah.
You were asleep.
But that job that we also had was beyond Duke.
Well, oh yeah, the call center. Yes.
It was cool at the beginning, but it changed.
They
did
started like
different
cracking down in like really annoying ways, and like they never did anything to me, but it was like just watching the way they were treating everybody else. I was like, I'm gonna leave, you know.
This
I don't
is not
appreciate
good.
this. Like,
I think I was just the call center's like scapegoat
yeah.
for a time.
Also for being
You're
the trainer.
everyone's scapegoat.
No
my
one
friend.
wanted to train, so like you
My,
train.
my
And when you
work-
left, they started having me train everybody. It's like I was the second place.
So there was a point where I was just a nice guy at work. So like when people would train people, they're like, because you're with them all day. And then you have to tell them to do stuff. Well, that was a job you can kind of like, while you're not doing anything, you could just do whatever. So when you're with somebody, it's
There's
like,
a lot of downtime.
you had to do it.
The worst part of those jobs is training. Jobs where it's like you have a lot of downtime and you just normally just chill, but then you're training someone, so they're sitting with you and you can't. Like,
So you're
You know
working
what?
during your time
You can't,
in
like-
between.
I actually appreciated the opportunity to train people because it was like, I'd rather just one of us train them and then they know how to do stuff right. So then later it doesn't come back to us because you have to fix, when we were there, we'd have to go and fix people's accounts all the time. We didn't know what the H they were
Here's
doing.
the thing. that was my job. But also my job was watch Corbin. He trained you.
Yeah. Plus,
No,
it's a
but
good
they trusted
opportunity.
in-
Like, so
they
then you can
told-
make sure things are getting done right. It's like, I mean, you are taking responsibility without the pay and all that, but it's, I don't know, it just makes your job easier when you're the one over
But, like,
that.
they-
You know that they're not.
They trusted you, but for my job, like, they'd be like, "You train?" And I was like, "Yeah." I just took whatever because I was just nice. And then they started doing stuff because in between calls, like we would talk and we'd laugh, and there would be stuff like they'd start creating assigned seats and they'd split me and Mike up, and they're like, "So we're gonna have you two sit here for the day,"
You mean
and then this.
Tim's here.
Howdy.
So they talk about like you sit here for the day, and they split me and Mike up for the day, and they're like, so the seating chart we're gonna finish it, and then we'll apply it to everyone
Everyone's
else.
going to have to sit. It was
Never
just-
finished it. It was only applied to me and Mike.
You mean us?
This?
Dude, at my work, the same thing happened. Where they
It's
said,
you.
You guys can't sit. It
You're
is.
the constant factor there.
This boy.
But I feel like I
At
didn't do
work, he's
anything
the
where I'd
Here's
be
the
like,
thing. Here's the thing. You get work done, but you're also the loudest human being.
Yeah, you kind of are.
So,
Because I
like-
remember being in high school and we'd be talking in the lunchroom. You'd start talking about private stuff like super loud and I'd be like, "Dude, stop yelling!" You're like, "I'm not yelling!" Like, and it was like echoey
but it's
room.
not like-
blah, 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 blah.
It's just like you have fun loudly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, when people are like, "This is my career. I take this seriously," they get really mad at you.
Yeah.
Because you're.
I'll just accept it. I don't know.
I know it's dope. I like it.
But
That was the best time.
at our
I've
first
ever-
job, they eventually split us, and then we kind of got back together. And then I trained somebody who was kind of like new, and then he kind of kept hanging around us, and we ended up being kind of friends. And then they ended up splitting all three of us. And Mike did this thing on Google Maps where you can
I
outline.
made an entire risk map when we played risk.
Because you can outline
Through
stuff
Google
and
Drive.
highlight it. So Mike outlined the world, and we played Risk, and we would bring dice, and we'd roll at our desk, and then we type in the IM chat.
So it was honor code, but yeah.
Yeah, we typed on our IM chat like what we got for rolls and how we attacked, and there's bonuses. Like we did it all Risk style, and like we would do it. And I remember one of the supervisors came over like, "What are you guys doing?" And we're like, "We're on Google Maps." He's like, "What? Yeah, but what are you doing?" And we're like, "We're playing Risk," and he's like, "If you figured out how to play Risk on there, like, he just thumbs up and laughs."
Yeah, Jordan just came up to me. He's like, "How did you do this?" And I just like showed it. I started showing him. He's like, "I did it." He's just like left. He's like, "This is too much stuff."
This job also maybe rivals your job, and how when we worked together, they were horrible. There would be supervisors on Saturdays that would go in the conference room with a pillow and blanket, literally, and just
That was only
take
one
un
time.
sueño.
It was only one time, but it was still trash.
Hold on, that was
Hey,
one time that we
you know
saw.
What, you know what? At my job,
That's true, I guess.
At my job,
That wasn't probably the
we
first.
couldn't take breaks, and the sales reps had a private Xbox and PlayStation to play on whenever they
What
wanted.
is this? Like,
Did we not take it? There was a lot of in between time.
We took breaks because we just sat at our desks doing nothing,
self-determined.
playing Among
It's
Us.
like-
Do you know?
Oh yeah,
remember
online a
playing
little
Among
bit.
Us?
Yeah.
We played Mogus. We played Clash. Did you get into Clash? You weren't. Were you gone by then?
Did I get in the class?
Just-
I've
no,
always
No,
been
were
caught.
you
Camera
gone
phone?
by then though? Because
Yeah.
there was a point where
Oh,
I got everyone.
We're gonna get
we all
Tim C.
downloaded an Android. I was about to say we all downloaded an Android emulator on our computers and had Clash of Clans on the Android emulator on our Macs, and we had a clan with like 12 people. It was me, Tiffany, Chase, like everyone.
Not.
And we all had remembered our old login, so everyone had super high bases.
Was this after Beans?
Yeah. Yeah, Beans was gone. Why is it warm?
Oh yeah. And the best was like the hand sanitizer. We were like, we just died.
Dude, I felt bad.
I felt
bad
horrible.
for that one, but I died.
I remember one of the like, if I think back in the last couple of years on like some of the most horrible feelings was that time you were like, oh, like Beans actually is like really like messed up that I kept poking fun at her. I felt genuinely so bad. It was like
Your
the most
garage is
horrible
locked. We can't
feeling
get the
ever.
chairs out.
Oh, yeah, I'll go get it.
Nice.
You got the key?
Hey, what's our outro?
Oh yeah, we can end.
I was gonna say that's a good end.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, bye Tim.
Bye, Tim.
Bye and hi, because he'll be back for the next one. Next one.
Part two,
Next one.
Honestly, they'll probably just cut out with music.